Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Football Manager 2018. It is episode 16, and it is Season 2 Preseason Special. So we're going to take a look at the changes I've had over the course of the offseason, though the offseason still has a ways to go, and I am far from done with my work. So you'll see some of the work as we go through. But here's what's happened thus far. Before this, if you didn't catch the last episode, we wrapped up Season 1 by scraping by in a tight contest to win the league title and gain promotion to the Vanarama National League. So we're in the second tier from the bottom now in the English pyramid. Here are the players that left the team at the end of the season. John Worsnop, he was going to leave anyway. We were releasing him. He opted to retire instead. So a day before his contract ran out, he retired on his own. And that was our goalkeeper, who is an absolute mess. But right now, he is trying to get a job as a goalkeeping coach instead. But after the last couple performances of his career, I certainly would not take him. John Parkin left as well. He was 36 years old, and thanks to zero pace whatsoever left in those legs, he just was not adequate and did very little for us. He had 6 goals in 25 appearances, and that was over 2 seasons? No, it was not. That was just 1 season with us. The only one that I was not happy to lose was Josh Law. We could not get him to re-sign. He was not interested. I tried multiple times, and he did give me a chance, but he just wanted insane numbers in order to stay with the club, which I knew financially was just not sound. And honestly, he didn't have a very good season. He did score 2 goals, but both of those were free kicks, and he was taking free kicks all year long. And really, 2 tallies out of hundreds or at least 100 chances is not a good return rate by any means. And he didn't play that well defensively. He wasn't connecting crosses. But regardless, he was still an effective player. And I would have liked to have kept him, but not for the kind of money he was asking. Cam Joe, Connor Smith, Theo Wharton, and Sam Muggleton were all let go. They were all fringe players, backups who wanted not a lot of money, but they wanted a little bit of money, and it was certainly more than backups deserved. Plus, they couldn't get in the side last season in a lower division. They're certainly not going to get in the side this season. So I freed up some roster space to bring in either better backups or potentially some new starters to the team. And then, speaking of, let's take a look at the changes so far. First off, 1 more player has gone out of the side. So we lost our right back, and now we've lost our left back as well. So both fullbacks are going to need to be replaced for this season. David Ferguson, who is also another stud of a player, but same thing, not the greatest results actually over the course of the season. 39 appearances, 0 goals, and David Ferguson didn't do that much. But there was an offer that I could not refuse that came along. Walsall came and offered us a deal up front worth $125,000, and that could potentially add up to $175,000. And for our club, that was a lot of money, especially when we were deep in the red. There was a little bit of unrest with his departure. but more from the management than from the players. But it was pretty minor, as they felt that we actually could have gotten more out of that. But the deal that was offered was a non-negotiable deal, but it was padded pretty well. All right, here's what we've brought in so far, and compared to what we had going out when you add Ferguson in with the players that left on contracts, we have not concluded our business by any means. Our roster is a bit smaller now than it was, but you'll see what I've done to try to address that. We have a loanee out of Fulham, Matthias Kate, and he is both a center mid and attacking mid, and I plan to use him in Josh Simpson's spot for most of the season. And you can see he's got some pretty solid stats other than tackling and marking are going to be a bit of a problem. But he's in that center mid spot that has more freedom to attack. And as an advanced playmaker in that support role, I think he's going to end up putting up some pretty good numbers for us this year. He's an 11 finisher, 11 on the long shots, 12 on the passing, and he's got some pretty good mental and physical attributes as well that should play into a pretty good season for him. He's one of our higher rated players at this point. And then so far I've signed 3 players, 1 for the first team and 2 to replace some of those lesser contracts that we let go. In addition to the other guys, there were some youth contracts that expired, and the guys weren't fit to make the club and didn't have much potential beyond that. So I let a few of those go as well. So we brought in Jake Orrell, just a 20-year-old. You can see he's a far way off, but he does have a lot more potential than what we see here. And that's center mid. And Oliver Cooper, an attacking mid. Same sort of thing. He's just 18. Both of these guys are for the future. They have quite a bit of development left to go, and both of them have some pretty good potential. Here's the one for the first team that's been brought in, Jason Davis. We were a little thin at the wings last season, though Moke and Felix and Almond played pretty well amongst the 3 of them. It was never quite right, but you can see Jason Davis, even his stats aren't fantastic. He's got incredible pace, like Felix does, but he's a little more well-rounded than Felix is. Felix just kind of has a few stats that he's strong in, and Jason Davis should be able to fit in. He's not an automatic, but he'll likely play at our right wing position a lot of the time. And he is a natural winger, which should help a bit. But he's definitely not going to play every game or anything. He's not a lock. But at just 21 years old, he's got a lot of potential to improve quite a bit as well. So you can see we are far from done. We're down 2 starters, and we have 1 or 2 that have come in, but neither one is going to be a huge increase over what we have right now. Let's take a look at what I have done to try to address this. We were on such a low budget that our scouting package didn't provide us with much information. And the 2 scouts that I had at the beginning of the season were absolute garbage. There was 0 quality in those 2 scouts. Fortunately for me, somewhat fortunately, the better of the 2 ended up getting a job elsewhere and leaving the team, and so we didn't have to compensate him or fire him, and I was able to replace him with a much better scout, but that was pretty late in the season. Our chief scout was stuck letting his contract run its course, and then it just ran out at the end of June, which if you look at our calendar up here, it was only a couple weeks ago. Now, at the beginning of June, I went ahead and coughed up some money to hire a 3rd scout. So I had 2 good scouts at that point, and then after the chief scout's contract run its course, I went ahead and we'll come back to this roster in a second. Let's look at staff real quick. Made quite the adjustment to our scouting staff. And let's see here. We'll look at our scouting team. And now, my chief scout is Ben Hazley. Not great. Adaptability 12 and just 10-9 on the judging players. But here was the other one we brought in earlier in the year, 16, 10, and 10. And then, no, actually, this is the third one that I brought in just a little over a month ago. And then this was the one late in the season, Tim Bluden. Great adaptability at 19, and his judging is 8 and 8. So not fantastic by any means, but a huge improvement from what I had last season for the scouting team. But they haven't had long to work, and our scouting package sucks. It truly does. It's the lowest package that's out there. It's all that we can afford. But as a team, on the whole, even now in the Vanarama National League, we've got the best team out there. So that's awesome. But with the low package, we're only going to get so much out of that. So anyway, I had hardly anything in the scouting department. As you can see, let's look at what's scouted. You can see our senior package now is just National League, the lower tier package. It was the National League North-South, of course, last season, as that's where we had played. But our short list was pretty small, and as we were moving up to a higher division, we had hardly any players that had been scouted that were adequate for the level, and most of them were already on clubs and would have cost the team the kind of money that, even though I have a transfer budget, you can see here our payroll is set to $175,000 per month this year. That's dollars, U.S. dollars. Even though I'm playing in England, I'm from the U.S. And we're only spending $99,000 right now. We are way below what our budget is. So we have a long ways to go for maxing that out, and our transfer budget is set to $140,000, which is up a bit from where it was after that sale of Ferguson, as we picked up 15% of that transfer revenue. So we have tons of money to spend, but you can also see that our overall balance here, the team's $576,000 in debt. So even the sale of Ferguson just brought us down from we had been about the $700,000 in debt range, and that just brought us back a bit. So it helped, but only so much. Main reason for that is the debt and loans. This was coming into this is the team that I took over. So there's $2.5 million outstanding loans that were only about a year old. Both of them, as you can see, they started in 2015. So I guess 2 years old. And they run to 2036. So I mean, these are 20-year loans, and when you add in the outstanding interest, it adds up to $8.5 million of debt for the club, and we are spending over $40,000 per month trying to pay this back. And when our income only hovers around a couple $100,000, and you got to remember we're selling season tickets right now, so there's a bit of a bump in what that is. But you can see at most there's been $325,000, kind of a couple times in there, but for the most part we are well below 200, or only just over 200 most months in terms of our revenues. When you're adding a $40,000 payment every month, that's huge. That's 20% of your income right there, going into the expenditures, and it's rough, and we seem to be right around 300,000 in our expenses monthly on average. So team is kind of going broke in the finances department. So my hands are tied a little bit, even though we have money to spend. So I'm trying to spend wisely. I'm trying to keep an eye on that. Back to the roster and that lack of scouting. What I ended up doing was I took a bold strategy to look through going into that final month of contracts that were about to expire, assuming that most people that hit the beginning of June and had no new contract for the year, that most of them would end up having those contracts expire. And I looked up 2 divisions above me, or at least above where I had been, and started looking at League 2, and was looking at all the contracts that were about to expire through each team in the league. And I picked out the positions that I knew I was going to need or want replacements on, and set my scout team to try to get a quick scout report on all of those players. Well, a month later, I still only had a few of those scouting reports back, and so I hadn't got anywhere, and all these contracts expired. So 2 weeks ago, the day all those contracts expired, I ended up going back on that list of players, and each and every one of them whose contract did expire, all those released players. So I'll show you kind of where I looked. On my assignments, players. Here you go. So on this, I looked at every player that didn't have a club any longer, every last one of them, and I went to transfer, offer trial, and I offered every single one of them a 4-week trial to the club. Now, probably 60% of them were better, maybe even 2/3 or better, said no and snubbed us. I mean, we'd been 2 divisions below where they were. So most of them said no. However, a decent amount said yes and came to the team. So I had zero information on these players whatsoever. But by getting them into the team, now 2 weeks later, in fact, it wasn't even 2 weeks yet, as most of them, it took 4 or 5 days before they agreed and then came to the club. So in about 10 days here, the coaching staff has now gotten a look at a lot of these players. And right away, I could see that many of them, here like this Ashley Baker, actually, he's the most recent. He approached us just a couple days ago and was like, oh, yeah, I could give the team some quality. Why don't you sign me? Well, here you can see Ashley Baker. No, he's not any good. Even if he does have that 3-star potential, he's at most, once we're done evaluating him, because look at this, we don't have a real evaluation on him. But I had nothing on him 48 hours ago. Anyway, so even at his best, he's going to be 2 stars. At his worst, he's a 1/2 star. But at best, he's only got 3-star quality. So I'm actually going to go ahead and terminate his trial, as he's not good enough to make the club. So I actually had about twice this number of players about a week and a half ago, somewhere around 10 days ago. But I've been whittling it down. I got a lot of the guys who weren't any good out of there, and got rid of them. Others I'm keeping around. I've taken a look at them, and I'm slowly but surely starting to fill out that roster by bringing in all the free agents that I could get my hands on, and just getting a look at them, all those that were willing to take a trial with the team. So instead of going out and spending a bunch of money on transfers that we can't afford, even though we have technically the budget for it, I'm just trying to get these guys in, and then part of it too is looking at what kind of contracts they're willing to sign. Trying to not sign too many bloated contracts, but there is one. If we take a look at promises, Aiden Conley has been promised that we will strengthen the first team squad, and the board has been promised that I will want to make a couple big signings to bolster the squad. That way I can kind of have the support that there will be. I set that up. I haven't made any big signings yet because our biggest signing so far has been a loan, and so he's not actually on the roster. But we've got plenty of job security at the moment. The team's goal for the year is mid-table finish, and let's look back at transfers. I have 2 more that have agreed to terms, but have not yet signed. And I've had actually 1 or 2 others as well so far this offseason that ended up going off and signing somewhere else. So there's no guarantee I'm going to get these 2 guys. Craig Ross is one of the players that's on trial right now, and he's the only goalkeeper I have left. I had a few when I started, but the others were just not adequate. He is not coming in as a starter, but at 28 years old, he should. His numbers are actually pretty similar. He's a better shot stopper than Simpson, who is our starter, Luke Simpson. But Luke Simpson's better in a few other ways, especially his jumping reach, his height. So Luke Simpson's better at stopping the ball near the crossbar, while Craig Ross is better at stopping it, like let's say in the bottom corners, with better reflexes. So there's kind of a trade-off between the two, and I could see Craig Ross not just being a backup, but being able to compete for a number of starts throughout the year. Though it looks like Luke Simpson's still going to be kind of the main guy. But I'm getting Craig Ross pretty cheap, and he was willing to sign on as a backup. I was hoping to find a better goalkeeper, but not having been able to do so and not wanting to spend the money to do so, unless we find one via loan, I think we'll have to settle for Craig Ross this year. But this is the big one. To fulfill those promises, to try to improve the squad, Nick Houghton was the best player that we had scouted throughout the year, 90 rating. He looks like he might even be good enough for League 2 already at this point, being a quality player at that level. So very good for our level. And actually, he reminds me almost perfectly of the very guy he comes in to technically compete for the position for. But both of them have the diversity and kind of could play around with putting them both on the field at the same time. Is Aiden Conley. So you look at this, he and Aiden Conley are kind of neck and neck. Aiden Conley is just a little bit better in attacking and vision, but he's a little more physical, a little better at defending, a little better at aerial, a little better technical ability. So you can see they kind of balance out, but you look at this, they very much resemble each other. Speaking of Aiden Conley, let me see, how do I look at... There we go. Looking at Aiden Conley specifically, let's see. He ended up winning the Vanarama National League North Player of the Season. So congratulations to Aiden Conley. He actually did so with just 4 voting points, which means it was a very, very tight contest. Funny thing, and I actually had not seen this, Danny Rowe. I'm assuming this is our Danny Rowe? No, okay. I have a player with, is it the same name? Oh gosh, now I'm confused. Yes, I do. I have Danny Rowe, but it's not the same Danny Rowe. All right, well, here looking at our roster, here's the Matthias Kate. He comes in right behind Aiden Conley in terms of quality. I have a few guys here that are under consideration for roster spots, but yet we don't quite see what their quality is yet. So I'm still waiting for some of their attributes to come in, though we're getting close on guys like Connor Wood here. Jason Davis, there's our other new signings. You can see he comes in right at the top. Luke Simpson has moved up. He had been kind of low on the list, but by the end of the year, he had improved quite a few stats, and he's stepped it up to one of the better players on the team. Hero Smoke. I did end up retaining a couple guys that I thought I was going to let go. Bencherif, and way down here at Rankind. Part of that was both of them really, really liked me a lot. So I was going to get a lot of locker room support from these two players, and both of them signed really cheap and as backups. All right, well, anyway, so what I'm at right now is we're trying to get Craig Ross signed in. We're trying to add in Houghton as a top player. And the big thing that I still need to do at this point is the fullback situation, as we have virtually no fullbacks on the squad whatsoever. Sean Newton is listed as a left back, but I think I only played him there maybe once all last season, as he played as a center mid for me, and I very much see him more as a center mid than I do a left back, though he's capable. I mean, looking at his stats here, his tackling is 9. It's not terrible. His crossing is 9. He's got a little bit of speed. Excuse me. Oh, sorry, I had aches today, and they don't settle well with my stomach. Anyway, so we're going to let Ashley Baker go. These guys are only being kept around at this point, besides Ross, because of their age. So 19, 20, 21, and I'm looking at them to try to see what their potential comes out to. If they're kind of 4 stars or better, I might sign them as basically hot prospects, backups, and put them on the U23s to fill that out, as injuries certainly do happen. And these guys are kind of the fringe ones, like Gavin Hoyt. I don't expect to make the team. He's just 3 stars. He's already maxed out. He's 28. But if these guys don't turn out to be as good as they're listed right now, then I've still got him on board. All right, well, what we have right now is we are on to our first preseason game. We are going up against Stevenage, who are a higher division than we are, so I'm not expecting fireworks in this game by any means, but we're going to try to get a look at a few of the players. In terms of training, we've only just come back to training about 5 days ago, so the team is very much lacking match fitness right now, and our focus is entirely just on fitness and building framework for the locker room and cohesion on the pitch. So we're not trying to win this game by any means. All right, so I think I have set up what I want to see for this game. Sukar is going to be out still for half a year to 3/4 of a year, so we're not going to see Sukar for any time soon. So I am looking to sign another center back, possibly. I think I only have one. Oh no, there's 2 of them that I'm taking a look at. Everybody else I'm looking at is for other positions. All right, so trialists Connor Wood and Lewis Fensom are getting the starts at fullback today, and Wes Fletcher is getting the start on top. Amari Morgan-Smith really isn't that good for this level, so I am trying to find somebody to kind of slot in as the number 1 guy and have Amari Morgan-Smith, who was streaky last year. He would be great for times, and then he could go quite a few games without scoring. All right, there will definitely be squad rotation today. I'm going to probably switch out all 11 before the end of the game. But we're going to get quite a few guys a look today. A lot of my regulars, Moak, Conley, Simpson, Parslow, Rowe, and Luke Simpson, are all going to probably be the first ones coming out, as I want to get a look at some of these other players a bit longer. I'm not going to go with win a place just yet. It's only the first game, so concentrate on building up your fitness and on your performance. That's what I'm looking for today. And no reaction, no surprise there. Ooh, this is a new addition they've just added. They just recently did an update, and this is my first look at that. Okay, we'll just end pep talk and head off to the game, as there's nothing to get fired up over. And let's go ahead and jump into things. This is at home, and Parslow immediately gives up a free kick right after the kickoff, but they send that high over the bar. Again, not looking for anything major here. Our tactics, we are a bit low. Gosh, they got a guy that's hurt already. First day of preseason. Moke, nice ball. There's a cross and a goal from Kane Felix. Well done. And that was Fensum with the cross. Moke with that nice through ball, reading that Fensum was coming across. He probably could have played that further out ahead of him for Fensum to run onto, but Fensum with a great cross. And Felix, even though he doesn't have the greatest of attribute ratings, he continues to perform. We are playing a team of a higher division, so preseason or not, that was a good play. Probably give it till halftime before I begin to make any changes. I have not changed tactically what we're doing for this season, at least not at this point. I would like to give it a go. I know it's not going to be as effective this year as it was last year, as we're not going to be anywhere near as dominant. But we still have some definite quality to the team, and we'll just have to see how well we hold up. I'm not expecting promotion this year by any means, but I certainly think it is well within our possibility to finish mid-table. I don't think we're going to face any danger of relegation this year. But if there's any one thing that I've learned about Football Manager is it is more streaky than any game that I've ever taken part to. And yes, soccer is a bit streaky, but not like this game is. It's straight up 10 games unbeaten, and then you finally lose one, and things fall apart in a hurry. It happens so much in this game. So mid-table is actually kind of a complicated thing in this game, as it seems to be you're always either fighting relegation or you're fighting for promotion. And it's so rare, at least for me, to really ever have a team that's just kind of mid-table, where this week you're home and you're against a bottom table team, so you get a win, and next week you're on the road at a team in the top 6-7 places, and so they outplay you, and so you lose that game, and you kind of adjust tactics week by week. I don't see that on this game. Hardly ever. Yet that's kind of where we're picked to be. So something in the back of my mind tells me that we are looking at either facing a relegation battle or being on the edge of a promotion playoff throughout the year. But we'll see. Alright, so I should really change to my tactics view so that I can actually see who it is that I've got coming in. Let's see, so Barclay, let's get him in for Danny Rowe. So we do enter halftime up 1-0, which is nice. You don't need to be a sweeper keeper when your strength is to defend. Let's see here, and let's get Owen Bailey in for Parslow. And what is your strength? Defensive center back. We'll set you to defend. And I'm going to leave No, I'm going to switch Fensom out, but Wood's going to stay on a bit longer. It looks like Sean Newton's kind of my only backup. Ooh, that's a problem. None of these other guys are capable left backs outside of Sean Newton as a backup. I mean, I guess I've got Sean Newton as a backup. That is something. So we're gonna look at him maybe with a half hour to go. Let's see. Let's get Davis on there. So we get our first look at him. We're gonna move Kate up to Conley's spot so we can get a look at him there. Which means, what do I have left for center mids? I've got Bradley Wood could play there, but I want to see how he is at right back. But same with Tanner. These are kind of the main three guys for that spot, so I might get a look at one of them at center mid and one at right back. And if I'm going to do center mid, I better get one of them in there now. Let's see. You're very much a stronger right back, while you're more of a center mid, aren't you? So let's take George Tanner, and we'll get him in there for Conley. And what can you do? Ooh, not a whole lot. So Wood will come in for Fensom in a little bit. Lawson. Somebody we're taking a look at, and let's get you out there. And how are you? You're slightly better at inside forward, but not great, so we'll keep you as a winger. Davis, I thought you were solid as a winger. I thought that was the whole point. I don't know why it's showing that. Wes Fletcher we'll leave on for now. And Josh Simpson is one that I can still replace now, but what do I have? Not a whole lot. Do I want to bring in Bencheriff? Sure, let's get Bencheriff on there, get him some minutes. Alright, that'll do that. Most of our changes are already done. We've got to change out our fullbacks still. Kate and Fletcher are the only four still on, right? 2, 3, 4 guys to change out here in the second half. Davis, nice steal there. That was the very first look I've had of him. He comes right out and recovers ball for us. Nice ball from Fletcher over to Lawson. Lawson shoots that high and wide, though. Decent stop from Ross, though it seemed to be right at him. I think he might have been able to do better and hang on to that. Bencheriff, good defensive play, and gets the foul. Alright, we are managing to at least get above 50% possession today, which is nice. Oh, great play from them. Ross couldn't get to that, and that was that crossbar that I was talking about. It was out of his reach, and he was not able to get up to that one, so luckily we got bailed out by said crossbar. Alright, I had this for the end of last season. Oh, and he can't make the stop there either, but that was a nice shot. That was a difficult angle. Samuel seemed to pull back to open up that angle. And good goal for them to tie the game. Again, results do not matter today. Barclay, whoa, very slow getting back there. Luckily that ball was long enough for Ross to get back to it. I'm going to have to check Barclay's speed because that was pretty sad. Lawson gets all the way back to get to that ball. That was good. I think it's time to make those final subs. We'll bring Newton on at left back. We're going to get Ryan Morgan-Smith in at the top. We're going to get Bradley Wood in at right back. And I want to bring in Almond. Yes. Yeah, we'll bring in Almond. Even though he's not a natural, it's preseason. It doesn't matter. But we'll give him some minutes here. Half hour to go. No real highlights for Wes. Was it Fletcher? Yeah. Wes Fletcher there. In fact, he had a really low rating, just 6.3. I don't know if that was the quality of the defense or the inability of the rest of the offense to penetrate that defense. I wouldn't be surprised at all, though, if that had anything to do with the quality of our opponent. Great through ball there from them. Good stop from Ross there. That was not a given. That was not right at him. He got out and got a hand to that one, even though he didn't have to dive. Nice block, whoever that was. Almond recovers the ball to Davis. Davis, good enough ball up there to Wood. See, our only 7.0 rating is Kane Felix with the goal right now. Fensum's at a 6.9 with the assist. Almond's got a 6.8 at the moment. And Luke Simpson had a 6.8 with that clean sheet in the first half. But no standouts. Great save from Ross there. Positioning didn't make me terribly happy, though. He was awfully close to that right-hand post with the ball only slightly to the right side. But great job to reach that ball and make the save. Nice ball ahead. Almond through. Off the post. That was potential game winner. Here's Bencher taking the free kick. Surprise, surprise. I don't think I have any assignments right now on that. We are way behind on shots here late in the game, but we are still managing to hang on to a decent amount of possession, even though we are facing a higher division. So that is encouraging that we are able to hang with Stevenage here today at 1-1. It'd be nice if we could hang on to the tie, as that would be good for morale here during the preseason, as that certainly matters going into the year. The results mean nothing, but the morale does mean something as we get the season started. Only a couple bad ratings today. Wes Fletcher's 6.3. Aiden Conley had just a 6.4 today. Bencher, nice steal there. Ooh, that ball outside. Davis keeps it in, but can't do anything with it. Ball into the corner. Ooh. Offside. The offside was earlier. Okay, final seconds of the game. They are in possession. They probably got the last chance here. No, we recover the ball. Bailey, Lawson, Tanner. And that's game. 8 shots to 13, only 1 on target. But that's all we needed for Kane Felix to put us ahead in the second minute. Was not enough, though. But there's no points on offer today, so this was just for preseason practice. Okay, well, there's the first look at the team. You can see that the team is far from being complete, and in our next episode, it will be all about the actual first game of the season. So we will be moving past the preseason. I might. We'll see. There might be one more preseason episode as the roster continues to take shape here in the coming weeks. We've got about 6 games till the regular season gets underway, so there's going to be a little bit of time to pass. So I might have one more episode. We'll see. Simply about fitness and preparation. There you go. Team's motivated by that. And we'll end the talk and leave the match. All right, well, that does it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe, and tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.